Before diving into this incredible story, consider subscribing to the channel and hitting the bell. Every story here has something to say, and you won't want to miss a single one. In a major city in Texas, the Hotel Greenridge Grand Resort shone like a jewel in the desert. Nestled between verdant hills and business districts, it was the scene of celebrity weddings, confidential political conferences, and lavish stays for the wealthy. Outside, shimmering fountains. Inside, crystal chandeliers, Italian marble floors, and a subtle scent of jasmine wafted through the air. At the head of this palace, Madeline Cooper, a charismatic, self-taught African-American woman who, through perseverance, became one of the few black women owners of a five-star hotel in the entire southern United States. Brilliant, methodical, visionary, but also discreet and distant. Most of her decisions were made from her office in her private residence, a few miles from the hotel. She leaned heavily on her right arm, James Taylor, operational director, former student of a major hotel school, to whom she had entrusted all day-to-day management. Madeline trusted her teams, but she always kept an eye on the numbers, the reports, the guest satisfaction statistics, without ever really setting foot in the more ordinary areas of the hotel. She believed she had established a culture of respect, a climate of kindness and equality, despite hierarchical ranks. She was proud of it. Until this October morning, where she received a handwritten, anonymous letter, slipped silently into a cream envelope, left at reception and forwarded to her personal office. Madam Cooper. You think your hotel is an example. Maybe. But if you knew how the housekeepers are treated when you're not there, you'd be outraged. They're spoken to like dogs. They're rushed, humiliated, insulted. Open your eyes. Or come and open them yourself. A person who respects you too much to keep quiet. Madeline read the letter several times. At first, she thought it was an exaggeration, even a provocation. But something in the tone, a sincere pain, a desperate plea, resonated with her. She knew the hospitality world was often cruel behind the scenes, but she had always wanted to do better. Had she been too naive? Too absent? She didn't sleep that night. The next morning she called personally James Taylor and told him she had to be away for a week, claiming she had a last-minute invitation to a hotel summit in New York. You have the keys to the ship, James. Keep doing what you do so well. Of course, Madeline. We'll manage just fine here. But in reality, she hadn't left the city. 2 days later at 5:30 in the morning, a modest-looking woman quietly walked through the hotel's back door. Her hair was pulled back, her face was makeup-free, her dark circles visible, and her back was slightly hunched. She was carrying a canvas bag and a small badge that read, Margaret Jones, Temporary Application, Maintenance Department. She was 55 years old, according to the papers she had prepared. She had a fake address. And even a fake resume, listing casual jobs in small motels in the South. It was Madeline. She had orchestrated everything meticulously. To avoid recognition, she had adopted a deep South accent, erased all artifice, and changed her gait. She no longer wore her elegant rectangular glasses or her fitted suits. She now resembled an anonymous woman, self-effacing, almost invisible. One of those women that no one notices, that everyone thinks they know without really looking at them. She was greeted at the entrance to the basement changing rooms by Nora, the cleaning team leader. Are you on trial? Good. Get dressed over there, we start in 10 minutes. And be quick. We don't like slow girls here. No questions about his abilities. No words of welcome. Only orders. Madeline, who had become Margaret, immediately understood that the tone had been set. The myth of the palace crumbled as soon as one crossed the gray door leading to the basement, where the invisible ones worked. She entered a parallel world, made of sweat, silence, fear and ordinary contempt. From the first day, Margaret Jones, aka Madeline Cooper, was assigned to maintain the less luxurious rooms in the north wing of the Greenridge Grand Resort. These were most often assigned to passing salespeople or ordinary travelers who left neither tips nor compliments. These rooms were smaller, more disorderly, often left in a pitiful state. And yet, This is where the news was sent, those who were tested without training them, by assigning them excessive tasks and unsustainable schedules. Very quickly, Madeline noticed a series of deviations which, put end to end, formed a silent system of abuse. The team leader spoke to women housekeeping like undisciplined children. None sentence was formulated without an authoritarian, sarcastic, or contemptuous. "Hurry up, we didn't hire you for this. Admire the curtains. Have you seen the state of this bathroom? You don't clean with your eyes, Margaret." These public humiliations were constant. Worse still, no one seemed shocked. It had become the standard. The official timetables were a lie. Each woman had a rigid schedule, but when there was delay, which happened almost every day, they had to catch up on time, without compensation. Those who had children to pick up, or a second activity, found themselves trapped. When one of them dared to say that she had to leave at 5 p.m. for her second job, Martha told her replied dryly. "Don't you want to work? It's noted. We need reliable people here." The pauses, theoretically provided for by the hotel regulations, were watched like a potential crime. Chronos were started. A minute late, and you were summoned. Some were going to until not to drink water so as not to have to request a bathroom break. And then there was Mark, great, always clean-shaven, tight tie, smile glacial. Officially, he was respected for his rigor. But in the corridors, women whispered his name as one speaks of a known danger. He touched the shoulders, slipped ambiguous remarks. "You work well, Clarissa. I should come check this out more closely, this evening." He called some young women princess, cute, or baby, even in the middle of a team meeting. But what deeply wounded Madeline, what pierced her heart as a human director, was ordinary contempt. Not the one who shouts. The one who smirks, ignores you, crushes you without a word. One morning, while scrubbing the toilets of a fifth-floor suite, kneeling on the icy floor, a blonde receptionist, Samantha, abruptly opened the door without knocking. She stopped dead, wrinkled her nose, and looked at her as one might look at a stain. "Hurry up," she snapped. "This client is important. I don't want him to smell your smell in the room. Your smell." 2 words. 2 blades in dignity. Madeline didn't answer. Not out of weakness. But because at that precise moment Margaret Jonas represented all the invisible, silent women who have been humiliated for too long. In the following days, the situation worsened. She was ignored in the cafeteria, pushed into the hallways. No one spoke to him except to give him orders. She didn't have a record. She didn't have a name badge, she didn't exist. One afternoon, as she was walking down the hall with a pile of clean sheets, a waiter, Travis, deliberately bumped into her, pretending not to see her. The tray he was carrying, filled with glasses of orange juice, toppled over onto her. Glasses rolled to the floor, liquid splashed onto her apron, her t-shirt, and even her shoes. An awkward silence followed. Then Travis, grinning broadly, blurted out. "Well, at least you'll have an excuse to wash your uniform." Laughs. Real laughs. Colleagues from the restaurant. A doorman. Even a young intern in a black uniform. No one apologized. No one helped him. Madeline simply picked up the broken glasses with trembling hands. But what no one knew was that inside the little badge attached to his apron, a fake, anonymous intern badge, was a tiny camera. She had filmed everything. And that wasn't the first scene. Every day she documented in silence. Mark's sexist remarks. Martha's Chris. Humiliations in the break room. The looks of disgust in elevators. The complaints of women who had never dared to speak to the management. She was in pain, yes. She felt hurt, dirty, broken at times. But she held firm. Because every recorded injustice became a proof. And she was soon going to use this evidence. Not for revenge. But for demolish the system and rebuild a worthy place off this name. The 10th day. The moment of truth had arrived. At exactly 9 a.m., a note was posted in every locker room, every break room, every administrative office at the Green Ridge Grand Resort. Exceptional General Meeting. Location, Main Reception Room. Time, 2 p.m. Attendance required. Formal attire required. Please be punctual. No one really understood. No such meeting was planned. James Taylor, the operations manager, looked nervous, but he reassured everyone. Just an important communication from our founder, nothing alarming. At the appointed time, the large reception room was filled. Receptionists, housekeepers, waiters, valets, concierges, supervisors, all in uniform. Some seated, others standing in the back, arms crossed. Whispers could be heard. Is this for a reward, do you think? Perhaps a reorganization? A new HR policy? In the center, an elegant platform. A large black screen hung from it, ready to broadcast what was thought to be a video message from Madeleine Cooper, the founder and owner, who was supposed to be in New York. James spoke, microphone in hand. Thank you all for being here. Executive Director Ms. Cooper would like to send you a personal message, from her conference in Manhattan. He started the video. The screen lit up, but showed nothing. At this very moment, the double doors of the room slowly opened. A breath went through the assembly. Margaret, the cleaning lady that everyone had ignored, pushed around, humiliated, enters silence. She was still wearing her old gray trousers, but had taken off her apron. She walked calmly to the center of the stage. Then, under their fixed gazes, she took off her scarf, raised her head, and took a step forward. It was her. It was Madeleine Cooper. And leaden silence. The room was filled with thunder. All that could be heard was the whirring of air conditioners and a few nervous gasps. Some turned pale on the spot, others exchanged frantic glances. Martha, the team leader, opened her mouth, but no sound came out. Samantha took a step back, pale. Mark frowned, unable to believe it. Madeleine fixed the assembly with her deep, calm gaze, but burning with an irrefutable truth. Hello everyone, she said simply. I am Madeleine Cooper. And I spent the last 10 days here, not as your boss, but as an invisible one. A cleaning lady, among others. She let a silence hang. I didn't come to trick you. But to see. To understand. And believe me, I saw. She slowly turned her head toward Samantha, the receptionist. You told me not to leave me smell in a room. In front of a client. Samantha looked down, her palms sweating, unable to speak. Then Madeleine turned to Mark, the supervisor. Your sexist jokes. Your nicknames. Your room checks. It's all there. She raised her hand. The screen behind her lit up. A recorded video was displayed. We saw there Travis, the waiter, deliberately knocking a tray over on her. Then Mark speaking to Clarissa in a suggestive voice. Then Martha yelling at an employee. Faces turned. Some blushed. Others began to cry. Then, images showed the working conditions. Women cleaning on their knees, timed. A pregnant employee returns to work with tears in her eyes. A voiceover, Madeleine's, commented softly. They work harder than many here. But they are only seen when they make a mistake. Madeleine turned to the maids gathered at the back of the room. She looked at them with genuine tenderness. You held on, despite the humiliation. Despite the fatigue. Despite the fear. You are the heart of this establishment. Andy abandoned you. His voice trembled slightly. I thought I had built a place of excellence. But what I saw, it was exploitation. Cruelty. Contempt. This is not the Green Ridge Grand Resort I dreamed of. This is not the world I want to leave behind. She paused. But from today, this changed radically. The day after the revelation, the consequences fell like a guillotine. Mark, the odious supervisor, was urgently summoned to Madeleine's office. His usually confident face betrayed panic. He tried to downplay it, to justify himself, but the director remained inflexible. "Your actions are unacceptable," she told him coldly. "You are dismissed, immediately." A few hours later, it was the turn of Travis, the waiter who deliberately spilled his tray on Madeline, to learn that he would not be setting foot in that hotel again. "Your disrespectful attitude towards your colleagues is incompatible with our values," announced the HR director. As for Samantha, the receptionist with the contemptuous attitude, she was not fired but placed under surveillance. Madeline imposed a 2-week suspension on him, along with mandatory training on dignity at work and respect management in the workplace. In the days that followed, James Taylor, operations director, was called to a private interview. With a tired look, he tried to justify himself. "Mrs. Cooper, I didn't realize how serious the situation was. I did my best." Madeline looked him straight in the eyes, her tone firm. "James, you forgot one essential thing. True leadership isn't about managing numbers or schedules, but about protecting the most invisible, those no one talks about, those who are ignored. Starting today, you are being replaced." It was a shock for him. But she was determined to get the hotel back on track. But this reorganization was not just a punishment. It was a new beginning. Madeline had observed during her days in Margaret 2 remarkable housekeepers: Clarissa, a Jamaican woman with a warm smile and an attentive ear, and Lena, a courageous young Filipina who helped her colleagues even under pressure. They were both promoted. Clarissa became team leader, Lena received a position as maintenance staff coordinator. Their mission: build a bridge between management and teams, defend rights and ensure respect. At the same time, Madeline created a Respect and Well-being Committee. This group, made up of employees of all ranks, was tasked with ensuring that everyone could express their difficulties and suggest improvements. An anonymous suggestion box was set up so that no one would be afraid to speak out. 6 months later, the efforts began to bear fruit. The Greenridge Grand Resort became an example cited in the media and in the hotel sector. The hotel received a prestigious national award for its commitment to employee well-being, a rare prize for an establishment of this size. Madeline was invited to close a conference on ethical management. In front of an audience of professionals, she declared with emotion, "I pretended to be an invisible woman. And I saw who you really were. Respect is not measured when the cameras are there, but when there are none." His gaze met that of Clarissa, present in the room. Change begins with the recognition of the dignity of each person, regardless of their position. This is how we will build more humane companies. The Greenridge Grand Resort was no longer just a luxury hotel. It had become a place where every employee mattered. Where the voice of the invisible was finally heard. Where justice was not an empty word, but a living reality.